This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Want to create a lifetime of memories this spring? Do you remember the joy of jumping as a child? If only there was a way your own kids could experience that same joy safely. Spring Free Trampoline has been engineered to eliminate 90% of product-related injuries. The Spring Free design boasts no springs and a flexible enclosure and proudly offers a 10-year warranty. That's peace of mind. Lock in your ultimate backyard safe space before summer arrives. Visit springfreetrampoline.com.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your driver's license is important so you can get back and forth to work, get your kids to school, and back and forth to daycare. If your license has been suspended because you can't pay your tickets, you can't do any of those things. Let's talk about Chapter 13 bankruptcy. You may have heard the tickets cannot be discharged, but they can be dealt with in a Chapter 13 case. Why not come in for a free consultation? The chapter you choose will make all the difference to your getting back legally on the road. Let's design a plan to pay off your tickets and restore your license immediately. I'm attorney Travis Gagne. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, the Rock of Seattle. Jeanette Reyes, who is an anchor at Fox 5 in Washington, D.C., pulled a great prank on a phone scammer by pretending to go live on TV as an investigative reporter who has the FBI on the line tracking the call.
Awesome.
Of course, the scammer's like, I'm out.
Hello, can I speak to Jeanette Reyes?
This is she?
Hello, Jeanette. We're calling in regards to an outstanding warrant we have for your arrest.
I didn't know about that. Can I just pay for it now?
Yes, we can clear up this matter if you're able to make a payment right now with a debit or credit card. Go ahead with the number, please.
It's 3, 2, 1. Good evening. We are live on television right now with an investigation into scam callers. We have the FBI on the line. They are tracking this phone number as we speak. Sir, what is your full name again?
Awesome. Elon Musk's kid, his name is beep, beep, beep.
I'm going to have to remember that one. That's a great way to do it.
Well, you know how also works is just not answering your phone if you don't know the number. That's how I avoid all these scam calls. I get the voicemails and I'm like, yeah, this doesn't sound right. I'm just going to the internet and check.
Oh, it's a beating. I just got a text from my wife today. She just said, hey, I woke up to this text that says that BECU says we got a lot of issues with our account and it's urgent. She said, I didn't want to hit the link before I let you know, but she said, that's what I woke up to. I'm like, yeah, it's a scam, honey. Don't. I mean,
don't click any links. My favorite is the Amazon one that I've been getting a lot lately where it's like, oh, hey, this is Amazon and we have a problem with your order. I'm like, cool, I haven't ordered anything in probably 3 months. So
the problem is I'm not ordering things.
Enjoy that.
Right.
That is the problem.
I get like the Facebook one too sometimes. It's like, we noticed something suspicious and blah, 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 your account. And then you click on, like, not click on, but you like hit the open up the email address.
Yeah.
And the email address is like BillyBond6943 at some weird email address that I've never heard of. And I'm like, oh, so Facebook's not sending something from Facebook.com. They're just sending something from some random third party account.
Oh, yeah, that's how that works.
I used to really not be a capital punishment guy. I'm like, look, I don't believe in capital punishment for pretty much anything. I really believe that if we can, keep the person out of society and help them out, get them the proper therapy they need and make sure that the public is protected. I'm all for putting my tax money towards that. But actually, I do believe in capital punishment for phone scammers.
Yeah.
You know what? There's no rehabilitating them. There's no hope for them. Get them off the face of the planet. I'm done with them. The text scammers, the phone scammers, all the email scammers, because I have to deal with this so much with people in my life who check with me, and I'm just like, oh my God, and it's always older people older than me that go, hey, you know what? I mean, this just happened. Like, no, it didn't happen. You're fine. The FBI's not looking for you.
How about we line up, like, see, whoever the person is that's the scammer, you line them up, and then you have just like a slew of old people that have had to deal with scammers. Just each person gets to get one shot on that person as they go through.
Oh,
because that'd be fun on the internet watching old people beat them up or her up.
I like that idea.
Yeah. And they can use their cane. They can do whatever they want. They can, hold them down with the walker while the other one beats them in the head with the cane.
Whoa! Hardcore.
Wow, this is extreme. I mean, I was just going to use
a death match. Old people versus the scammers.
Yeah, I was just going to recommend lethal injection. But if you want to do it that way, to basically for capital punishment, I want these people gone. I really have such disdain for phone scammers.
Yeah, but which one gets more likes and retweets?
That's a good point.
That's more important in life these days.
For the gram there.
Right. I hadn't thought about that.
The TikTok.
Yeah, I forgot about the TikTok. You're right.
I do actually end up watching a lot of people on TikTok. There's a couple of them that'll answer those scam calls and then just see how long they can keep them on the line. And fortunately for me with TikTok, it's like a minute-long video, so I don't actually have to see, go through the whole thing.
Right.
But they do the best hits, basically, and it's really funny, actually.
I do love that was the woman that answered the call because she's obviously an actual news reporter, and so she was able to put on the news reporter voice, which was really fun to hear.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I didn't realize just how much that news reporter voice was put on, but yeah, she went right into it. You're right.
Can any of us do the news reporter voice?
Ooh.
I don't think so.
I'm trying to think.
3, 2, 1. We're live in studio as Steve the Mixer. Oh, I almost called you Steve the producer.
This is poor prep. You're already fired.
I'm already done. Well, I failed. Anybody else want to give it a shot?
All right, let's see. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to want to keep your dogs and cats inside because SeaTac has reported that we're going to hit 101 degrees today. Indoors, if you have your air conditioning on, I'd suggest that you keep it at a high of 69 degrees because that would be nice.
Nice.
More news at 11.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
3, 2, 1. We have a backup on the I-5. This is Danny V, your traffic reporter. Please check. Are
you in a chopper?
Yeah.
I'll do it. There you go.
We are up in the chopper. Chopper 7 news today, so please be careful when you're driving in today. It's very bad. Back to you, Steve.
It's very
bad.
Thanks, Danny. Today's high 69 degrees. Not really, but it is nice.
Nice.
All right, now we're going to go to sports with Vicky Barcelona.
Why is the helicopter still going during sports?
Because she's flying over T-Mobile Field.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, this is a really good report.
Hi, this is Vicky Barcelona for KISW, and we are flying over the stadium where we see the Sounders playing, and everyone is losing their mind. We also see the Mariners are playing, but nobody cares. Back to you.
I think Vicky might win this one.
That's true. I on that one.
We got one more. Wait, Rev on the field. Where's Rev going to be?
Where's Rev at?
Rev's like the danger boy. He's out outside.
Or he could be the fluff guy. The one that's like,
He's going to be the fluffer?
The fluff guy.
What news reports are you watching?
No, the one that tells the feel-good stories. Like, they did the crumble biggest cookie today.
Oh, like Eric's Heroes.
Yeah.
That kind of story. Okay.
Rev's Tiny Warriors.
Excuse me?
Wow.
It's little heroes.
Happens to be the nickname that he's given a certain part of his body.
And now it's time for Rev with his Tiny Warrior segment.
Hey everyone, it's Rev with Rev's Tiny Warriors. We're down on the field next to a bunch of little tiny children hanging out with puppies next to all of the Sounders players. Oh, look at that puppy kick a ball. Isn't that adorable? Back to you.
Ooh, he does have that good news announcer voice.
I think I'm putting my money on Vicky, but Rev is a close second.
Yeah, Vicky wins on that one. That was amazing.
All right, there you go.
Do we dare bring your son in for this?
Yes, we do.
Oh, we got that's right.
He does sports too because he knows about basketball.
All right, we should probably get Sarah in too. It's only a fair competition.
Right, of course. Right. Now we're in the middle of a sibling rivalry. News at 11. Okay, so Joe, I'm thinking either you're going to be our finance reporter or you're going to give us an update on the NBA playoffs.
I feel like NBA playoffs is right, but I feel like I have to come from the local bar. So I might be a little hammered. So I might be the drunk news reporter.
Okay, are you in a helicopter in the local bar?
Of course.
All right.
Wouldn't he be?
And now it's time for sports with Joey D's Nuts.
Well, hello, everyone. Joey D's here from your local bar drinking some whiskey. LeBron James is out of the playoffs. Unfortunately, he's lost. He didn't make the buzzer beater, but I got a shot of whiskey out of it because Danny sucks and bet that he wouldn't make it. That's all I got here from the helicopter that's apparently flying in the bar.
Well, I mean, you're drinking. We should probably land this helicopter.
That's very irresponsible.
Say back to you, Joe.
Back
To you, Steve?
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. Now it's time to talk about fashion with our fashion reporter.
Yeah.
Ooh, Sarah.
From the chopper. I think you really hit her in not her wheelhouse at all.
Oh, what's your wheelhouse? Oh,
No.
reality television report.
Okay, all right.
What do you want?
right.
What do you want me to do?
We can do fashion. I'll go with it.
All right, fine.
Whatever you feel like. This is your segment.
Okay.
We'll just call it It's Your Segment.
It's
with
now
Sarah.
time for Sarah and her segment.
What? Okay.
Well, this just in. Steve is wearing this beautiful romper with bedazzles on it. BJ is twerking it up in this nice Captain Marvel shirt. And Vicky is wearing absolutely nothing because that's how we like it. Back to you, Danny.
Danny.
See, I know fashion.
Yeah.
A romper, a shirt, and being naked.
This is Captain America, by the way.
I don't know. It's some superhero thing.
Well, I'm wearing a bedazzled romper, which does
Yeah,
sound
you
comfortable.
Actually, kind of, yeah, right?
That
And
is pretty
beautiful.
good. Oh, yeah.
You were rocking it in my mind when I was envisioning it.
So I just tuned in. What the hell is going on?
I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, this, by the way, in case you know, this was not something planned. We didn't have a show prep meeting for this one.
So say now Vicky has yet another idea for her OnlyFans content.
That's a good point.
Wearing
very, very good
absolutely
point.
nothing.
Doing a
I
news
like this
report.
plan.
Oh, yeah, naked news.
Naked News with Vicky B.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Okay, then.
Could we call this a hard-hitting report?
Yes.
Nice. I love it.
A deep dive into current events.
Oh, my. On Channel 69.
Yeah. I'm not going to say anything, okay? I'm not going to contribute to this kind of entertainment.
Fair.
It's, you know.
Oh, now you've got standards.
Yeah. Oh, I've because his daughter's in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You know,
that's why.
Earmuff, Sarah.
Okay, I'm not listening.
Yeah. We got to tell you about this guy named Frank. He grew up in Long Island. And
Hey,
he
yo.
Hey, how you
It's
doing?
Frankie from.
Hey, Frankie.
Sorry.
He lives in Brooklyn now, Steve.
Nice.
So what's he saying now that he's in Brooklyn?
Ayo.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Frankly. Frankly.
Frankly.
His name's now
Hi,
Frankly.
my name's Frankly.
Frankly, Mr. Shankly over here in Brooklyn.
Oh, wow.
All right, Frankly Shankly. Boy, this guy, we know exactly what he's into at this point. He actually is a writer, Steve. Do you have a name, or is he does he shank people with his pen? Is that
Yes.
what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
He writes for the site insider.com. And he did an article for Insider section last week after visiting the Midwest for the first time. He went to Chicago and Detroit. And how about he listed a few observations? And anybody that's been to the Midwest already knows these things. But he was like, whoa, like he had revelations about things.
Oh, see, this is cool because I know, like, we live in a bubble wherever we live. Like, you know, even like I remember when my parents first came out to here, or even when I first moved out here, you just assume everything is kind of like the town that you grew up in. So when I went from Brooklyn and even Plattsburgh to Seattle, it was a mind F at first.
Yeah, I remember that when I first moved out of Massachusetts. Because especially in the Boston area, they call it the hub of the universe. They really think you don't need anything, and nothing could ever be better than where they live. And of course, with humidity, mosquitoes, and snow, I don't know how the hell Bostonians think there's not a better place to live.
Still to this day, dude, no matter what we do, if my mom has the kid, she's like, it's not like Brooklyn, but because they now live in New Jersey. Even when they come out here, how did you like the food? It's good. Not like the place in Brooklyn, but like there's nothing better than anything in Brooklyn in your eyes. You will forever say that.
Which I think is so sad because you're not living there. It's like I would tell my brain, we need to pretend that this is better than Brooklyn because this is where we're living now.
Right. But I think it's just like you spent your entire 60-something years living in one place and fell in love with it. And not that she went to New Jersey kicking and screaming. This was her idea and it was her dream home. But it was still a massive culture shock. Now I couldn't even imagine my parents moving to the Midwest. That would just be like...
Oh, it would, yeah. Now this dude, frankly, the Shankly, I don't blame him for really noticing this about going to the Midwest. The fact that things move at a slightly slower pace, including restaurants and trains, he was noticing. Because, they've got a subway system or a rail system there, the loop and all that. And, I didn't notice myself because I've been so removed from the East Coast. But it does seem a little bit more friendly and relaxed in Chicago than it does in Boston and New York.
Well, I even remember like coming out here, and that was a massive change. Like driving around here compared to New York. Like I remember when I first came out here, and I'm like going somewhere with like some friends, and I'm weaving and I'm speeding and I'm going in and out of traffic and all that, like just driving like an idiot. They're like, dude, what are you in a rush for? And I'm like, I don't know. It's like, we're just going to get dinner, but we're all together. Like, we're not going to be late. We're together. And I was like, crap, you're right. Like, it took a while, but I had to get used to that. It's the same with like walking. I was like walking through people, like going around, like, like cutting around. And I remember one time I pulled up to the corner and the guy's like, what are you in such a hurry to get to? He's like, I'm like, work. He's like, work sucks. Why are you hurrying there?
Good point. It's so true. I mean, because here, you know what? Being late for stuff is not a problem, and not rushing around is not a problem. I see that in the career. I still have to like really bite my lip when I see people just going through a crosswalk slow when I'm ready to make a turn. And for me, California is the other direction. Driving in California, they are nuts in my brain. They go so fast on these gigantic lanes that I'm not used to it. But I wonder, it's like, are Californians even faster and worse drivers than East Coasters? Or is it just because I've been living out here so long and I'm a little bit more chill? It's so hard to know. The guy also was really just so surprised at how nice people were. He said almost too nice. It confused him at first, then made him uncomfortable. And I've noticed that about like being nice to East Coasters, which I've learned how to be nicer just living out here in Seattle for 20 years. And they don't know what to make of it. They kind of don't trust you if you're being too nice.
Super suspicious.
But even living here, if you're too nice, it gets a little weird because we're nice here, but you go somewhere else, like when we've gone to Chicago, they're friendly. There's a difference between nice and friendly. They actually want to talk to you and they mean it. And they smile at you because they're not just sitting there awkwardly like, hey, how's it going? And actually want to know how it's going.
And it's the same with Boston, or I would just put out Massachusetts in general. For me, it's like, it was eye-opening for me how many friends we made just by, like, when I take Lily to the playground and people would just start talking to me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why are you talking to me? Like, I felt weird. And it was just like, no, they just want to have a conversation with you. And that was weird to me.
Well, here it's like everyone's just a full bunch of antisocial kind of like,
that's
nice
true.
On the surface, but you really don't ever get to know someone kind of a thing. And,
right.
And when you do, you really appreciate that.
But I went to Massachusetts thinking everyone was like BJ and grumpy, and like that's not how it is at all.
No, not at all. I mean, you're absolutely right. I'm an outlier.
You're nothing like the guy that I know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm an outlier. It's, Vicky, you make a good point. Manners and niceness on the surface is what Seattle has always been about. I was told that when I first moved here by friends when I was like starting to do radio. They're like courtesy, manners, and this false niceness is what Seattle is about. But you will not get close to anybody, and that, of course, is the Seattle freeze. You're like, wow, you're smiling at me, you're nice to me, and you want nothing to do with me. I don't know what to make of that. And you're right.
We were in Chicago. It was cool. Like, you go to a bar and people just want to talk it up, and at first you're just like, "What are you trying to scam me out of?" And then you realize, oh no, they're not doing anything. They just want to have a conversation because you're at the same bar as them.
You're right, Steve, because on the East Coast, if somebody comes up to you that you don't know, they're trying to scam you. They want to sell you something, or they're going to scam you something. It's like and you have to just bark them away. Get out of here! They're like, don't, what are you looking at? It's just like that's just how we grew up.
Am I having a good day? What do you mean by that?
Yeah. He's also saying it gets hot in the Midwest in June. Oh, yeah? Come out to Seattle.
Today only.
Yeah, just today. Well,
I hope you're right, Steve. I'm a little worried about this not being a today-only thing. And by the way, here we're looking at next week or the rest of this week. We'd be complaining about the weather for the rest of this week if not for what we have this weekend and today. Like the rest of this week, we're going, we're going to have like a cool down period. It's still going to be the 80s and close to 90. And we're still like happy about that.
I was looking at the forecast. I'm like, oh, nice. We're dipping down to 82 on Wednesday. That's cool. Like, that's still hot.
Yeah, it's insane. So, yeah, but he was surprised how hot it gets in the Midwest in June.
It's so hot over there.
I remember that time we went to Chicago White Sox game and Rev had a meltdown because it was so hot.
Or the other time where I had a meltdown walking down the street in front of all of these restaurants that had sidewalk seating, and I just took off my shirt and was just flailing around because I couldn't handle it.
They're doing like that, now I have a kid. It's like the angry toddler drunk stomp, and like that was the Rev, just like kind of like just flailing his arms, shirtless, holding his shirt.
I
in
was
his
sweating
hand.
from everywhere. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not pretty.
I wish we had good cell phones with video capabilities back in those days.
I'm really glad we don't.
That would be so good. We got a TV reporter that interrupts a newscast to complain that the news station hasn't paid him. Oh, yeah, I love stuff like this. We've got the audio. You're going to hear it at 8:20 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Wenatchee is gorgeous in the spring with its lush green rolling hills, abundant wildflowers everywhere, and the views of the Columbia River. The local food scene offers an abundant selection of authentic international cuisines featuring the unique farm-fresh ingredients of the region. Wenatchee is also home to award-winning wines, handcrafted hard ciders, and a talented handful of local brewers producing fine craft beers. Visit Wenatchee, the heart of Washington State.
Your kids will be saying,
"Please 5 more minutes. I can't believe I did that."
And,
"Look how high I can bounce."
Spring Free is the world's safest trampoline, the place where stories are made. The innovative design boasts no springs, so you know you're safe. Go ahead and create the greatest stories you'll tell your friends. We're back in stock. Get it while you can. To learn more about the world's safest trampoline, visit springfreetrampoline.com.
Mom, come watch us.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. A Zambian TV reporter is going viral after interrupting a live broadcast to claim on air that he hadn't been paid by the news station that he works at. Oh, man, this is one of those I net of the mood setter moments, man. You know,
I quit this bitch.
There it is. Yeah.
You would think I would be afraid to let somebody go on the air if I knew we didn't pay him. I'm like, hey, Charles is about to go on the air. We might want to just PayPal him really quick.
I'm with you. Right? It's a loose cannon situation, but man, how bad are things that they just think, we don't have to pay you and you're still going to do your job, but here's how it all went down.
We are human beings. We have to get paid. Unfortunately, on KBN, we haven't been paid. We have to get paid.
Wow. Yeah, and and that is, I mean, he's actually making a plea, like, it's a gut wrenching plea. It's not even angry. He's just like, look, man.
Yeah, I would say he's handling a way more appropriate than I think how any of us would have handled. Like, if I look right in the camera, do you see me? Insert the name of the boss. Pay me, you stupid mother blanker. Like, I would just be like,
yeah.
I wonder it'd be funny though if like it just got lost in the mail. Like, oh, the paycheck,
checks in the mail. Yeah, I'm not going to believe that.
The post office messed it up, and it just got like buried in the mail truck somewhere.
Or his bank screwed up, and it was direct deposit, or he gave the wrong Venmo.
Yeah, it's like something like it wasn't even like his job's fault.
Right? He's like, TV reporter 68 on Venmo, not 69. My bad.
Whoops. Sorry about that.
No, but he did say we, so I'm guessing there's a lot of people that haven't gotten paid there.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that suck?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me too, Vic. Yeah, if I feel like he's just like, look, man, you got to pay us.
I got a feeling there was an email then that went out to the entire staff. Staff meeting today at 3 p.m., everybody, to go over what happened here.
Wow, that's. I mean, I take things for granted, I mean, Zambia, in a lot of ways is not as fortunate as the United States. And I can't even imagine being in a situation where a company would not be able to pay us. You know what I mean? Where they would be like, look, we're trying to figure this out and we just don't have enough money to do everything we need to do, including pay everybody.
Well, dude, it was like over the weekend, like I did a bunch of like wrestling shows. So you're hanging out in the locker room just with all the guys and girls and like everyone's sharing stories. And of course, like bad promoters stories come up where like promoters are trying to be like, hey, can I PayPal you when you're supposed to pay them at the day of the show? And the door was light, blah, blah, blah. We didn't get as much money as we hoped. Can I send you in? And there are stories of like guys like being like, hey, let's go for a walk. And like basically like taking the promoter into like a dark like area and just like not being violent, but in putting a fear of God into the person. So they're like, hey, I'm not I'm not doing anything until you put money in my pocket. You know what I mean? But there's like these stories keep coming up of that, where it's like, like the shady practices of yesteryear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. You're absolutely right. There's in the world of comedy, we've heard our stories.
Oh, I can imagine anything where it's like, you're getting kind of like paid, like maybe cash at the end of a show. Bands as well. I've had that happen many times back. But it was never like a television station or a radio station or like a job where it's like, there's payroll and there's accounting and things like that. It's more so like some like random like show at a club, and the club just is like, hey, can we just pay you $500 tonight and pay you the rest later, or something stupid like that.
Yeah, I ran into that. It actually wasn't until I came out here, because I didn't, with a lot of the stations I worked for, we really didn't do many club events. But when I came out here, being involved in a rock situation, and, we did a lot of club stuff especially I worked for the Buzz. And that's where I got to see some of those shady practices. And man, the amount of arguments and fights that I had with a lot of people that I was involved with, because the club owner decided he was going to do something different than when we were promoting. And I was like, how can you do this? I just remember just going to the club owner. How can you be this way? You're robbing people. And, and the answers you get, you're just like, wow, this is a whole different world. I don't know this world because I'm used to just working for a company with payroll, like you said, Steve. It was crazy. Like, they just didn't think anything was wrong with what they were doing, even though they were literally lying and taking advantage of people, and they didn't care. I was like, whoa.
Well, I saw like some of my buddies were showing love for the Comedy Underground, which unfortunately I guess isn't going to be opening back
that's
up.
right. Yeah.
Super bummer.
Justin Ruppel had a really nice post about that.
I saw a lot of people posting. It just shows how well loved the crew at the Comedy Underground was. The guy that ran it, the guy that owned it, and all that kind of stuff. And everyone's sharing great stories. And then at some point, all of them almost had a story then about the old club remember the Giggles Comedy Club.
Oh, Giggles, yeah.
And everybody had a completely different opinion of that one. Like, either you're an underground guy or a Giggles guy. And typically you became an underground guy because the owner of Giggles was like just an unbearable jerk to us. And one of the guys shared a story of like, he's like, I remember a time at Giggles where I just got a glass of ice water, and the owner freaked out on him.
I saw that too.
Yeah, and it was just like, I just got a glass of ice water. Like, I'm sorry, I'm taking money out of your pocket for frozen ice. You know what I mean? It's like, this is so crazy.
That dude should not have been running a business.
In all fairness, he was running the business. He was the door guy. He was the bartender. He was the bus boy. Yeah. He tried to do everything, the nickel and dime, so he could save money. But it's like, I remember going to those shows. I don't know about you guys, but I went to Giggles, especially when Mitch Hedberg was playing. I would go every time, sometimes multiple times in one weekend, and see him like as much as I could. And if you wanted a party, though, you don't go there because you'd get one drink, and then you'd wait like an hour and a half until the waiter came back to get you another drink. And you're just like, if you hired somebody, you would sell so many more drinks. It would pay the cost of that extra person. That like you would make so much money, you would probably want to hire 10 more people.
Yeah, the mindset that he had, I've seen that mindset in people before. It's so frustrating to work with. It is a very old mindset. And it is, as life changed and business changed, Steve, what you said was reasonable. And the old mindset people just could not see that. I saw that in my life, with people that were older than me when I was a young worker. Like, what are you doing? You're an idiot. I mean, you're costing us business with your moves, and they didn't see it. They just like, in the old days, this is how we did it. I'm like, well, guess what? It's not. I mean, okay.
I remember one time going, like, what do you want to drink? I'm like, vodka soda would be great. And they're like, no, we can't make that for you right now. I'm like, we out of vodka or soda water? And they're like, no, we don't have enough people on staff, so like beer only. It takes too long to make anything else. I'm like,
that's so frustrating. That is so frustrating.
It's a shot in a squirt of water.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And the amount of money you can charge, probably over like what it costs, more so than a beer, is probably even more. It was just like, again, okay.
But it was taking too much time for that person.
That is so frustrating. Well, yeah, I've got plenty of stories about that club too, because we used to have comedians come in. And I had fights in studio with the dude because I remember our buddy Jim Norton came in. And Jim Norton's a friend of ours. And so we were going to have him on all day. And when we found out the guy was like, all right, you only got him 20 minutes. I'm like, what do you mean only 20 minutes? I mean, we want to sell out the joint for you. We're going to keep Jim on all morning, all 4 hours. And that way he'll sell, all of our listeners will know about it. And they want to take him over to the pop station. And I'm like, the pop station? And then the light rocks, like the Christmas music station?
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you? I mean, no one's going to go. I mean, that's not Jim Norton's crowd. And at least Norton knew radio, and finally Norton told me, yeah, I'm not going there either. I'm going to stay here with these guys. And it was a big fight. It's just the guy was just not smart on a lot of levels.
How about this person said, I worked at a nightclub where one of the owners would write you a check from his personal account. The employees, when they received them, would literally run to the bank so they could get their money before the money ran out.
Yeah, it's a race.
I had jobs where that before. Like, it was just like, they'd give you a check and be like, you might want to cash just as soon as possible. I'm like, what do you mean? And they're just like, it typically bounces.
Yeah.
And then it's like a race to get to the bank first thing in the morning. Like, I got to get my money. I don't want it to bounce on me.
Like, I even had one of those, and I was like literally working like 4 hours a week, and it was a tiny, tiny paycheck. But like somebody else was like, no, you better go right now to do it because at least yours will probably clear.
I am so happy because I used to, Steve, I don't know if you ever worked for mom and pop radio stations, any of you, but I did. And those were it's just like the mom and pop comedy clubs. I'm so happy to be in a company. And a lot of people used to go, you don't ever want to be in a big company. Oh my God, you don't want to be with this company. I'm like, you don't understand. I will never complain about my company and maybe some of the rules it has because it's a big company and it's in the stock market. Mom and pop is so horrible. They are, I
bet both have like their pros and cons, but when it comes to prime money stuff, then there's no pros. No pros to mom and pop.
Dude, not if you're if you want to be serious about whatever you're doing, they're just not serious enough. I remember getting calls from the owner to play different music. And, when you're trying to win and play the right music and program your station, and, I was a program director, and, here we are, if all of a sudden somebody called us and told us, okay, BJ, Steve, I need you to play, Ariana Grande. I need you to play, Cardi B. Stuff like that, like in the middle of your show.
The uncensored ones? Yes.
Yeah, well,
let's do it.
I need you to play, I need you to play some crappy light rock, whatever, adult contemporary song. And this owner used to do it because he was trying to get busy with all these women. And all of a sudden, you could tell you could tell who he was dating. Were they a country fan? Were they a hip hop fan? Because, we were a rock station and he never dated any women that liked rock. So we knew the kind of women he was dating based on the requests he made us play for her.
Well, in all fairness, I think for every woman, it is an aphrodisiac when your request gets played on the radio.
I agree.
I loved it.
And we'd always have to say the name, and it would be like, oh my God, man, and people would go, who's this Mandy? You guys play a lot of songs for her. I go, yeah, I know we do.
Mandy's banging the boss, so we need to help. We're helping him out.
Oh man, did I hate that stuff. I hated it so bad. Oh,
I think one of my favorites was like when early years of doing, like the earlier times when I first started doing the wrestling stuff, I was on a weird show and the promoter was just really, it was just, no one was getting paid. People were losing their minds. And he comes up to me, he's like, hey, I could pay you, but can I pay you the rest, via PayPal? I'm like, you know what? Sure. Fortunately, I'm doing this for the love of it. I'm not doing it because it's paying any bills. And you know what I mean? Like, it's like any cash I could get from it, it's always, it's a bonus. But then he would pay me in like the most random ways. Like one week he just PayPal me $1.50. The next week it paid me $5 via PayPal. And it was like, wow. He only owed me about like $10. So I think we got it, like after everything was all said and done, I think we got to about $6 paid off of that 10 over the course of like 2 months. And I finally just wrote him like, hey man, we're good. Like, it's just, this is like, every time I get a random pay, it reminds me of how annoying you are. Like, we're good. Wow. I don't even need the extra $4.
I feel like, what is your life that you have to spread out a $10 payment over a bunch of weeks?
And why do you think it was a smart financial choice to put on a wrestling show when it's clear that you're having a tough time paying your bills?
Yeah. Again, they just don't, they're not good business people, which they say, 9 out of 10 small businesses fail every year. This is pre-COVID. Because people just aren't, look, some people just are, or a lot of people don't have a mind for business. That really is what it is. A lot of people, Mr. Wonderful is right. And those guys on Shark Tank are right. It's like, you made a great product. You have not made a business. And they are I never understood that. And then eventually, as I see it, it's like there are people that make good products and maybe they're inventors, but they don't know how to run a business to save their life.
But I just want to know, like, what's going on in that guy's head. Like, he's sitting at home watching TV and he's like, crap, I still got to pay Steve. And then he looks at his account. He's like, I'm just going to PayPal him $1.75.
Oh, is he trolling you? I almost would do that to troll you and go, I'm going to pay Steve.
I'll get you
$10 I owe him. I'll spread it out over a year. Here's $1 a month.
I wish, but knowing that person, no.
Because it sounds like something I think I would do.
Right? Eventually he's going to give up on this.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. On Friday, Steve, he did get this one wrong.
Which organ in the human body produces insulin?
The liver.
No.
The kidney.
No.
The
dong. No.
It's true. No, the dong does produce a lot. It produces a whole generation when you think about it.
Deep.
Oh
yeah, man.
Thank you, buddy. We were looking for pancreas, okay? I mean, apparently these guys want to talk about pancreas. You want a shot at beating Steve? Okay, you got it. 206-421-ROCK. We're playing Beat Migs. We'll do that at 8:48 on The Rock.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. Here's another question from a listener. How long is a bankruptcy going to affect my credit rating?
Of course, most of the time, by the time we're talking about filing a bankruptcy, the credit has already taken a huge hit. Chapter 7 is going to affect it more negatively than Chapter 13. Chapter 7 stays on your credit report for 10 years from the time you file. It usually takes 7 or 8 years for your credit scores to get back into the normal range in a Chapter 7 case. However, your credit will start to recover even in Chapter 7 after about a year. You'll be able to get credit again right away, usually before your case is even over. Chapter 13 stays on your credit report for 7 years and usually takes about 3.5 years for your credit to get back in the normal range. So Chapter 13 will mean your credit gets better much more rapidly.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.